everybody. This is Trina with Chat with Trina, and I have the honor and the privilege to chat with Texas House of Representatives Democratic member Jarvis Johnson.
Hey, how you
How's
doing?
it going? Representative Johnson, he's represented the 139th district since 2016 when my mayor, I tell everybody it's my mayor, when my awesome mayor stepped down to serve as the mayor of our great, awesome city. How's it going today, Representative Johnson?
You know, I don't even know what day it is, but it's just another day.
Yes. And I'm off on Fridays, but I'm working from home. So it's like, am I really off?
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of jump right in. Just of course we want to know about your background. Like, are you a native Houstonian? I think yes.
I am.
You went to what high school?
I went to the Chinquapin School. It was a private school out in Baytown. It was a college preparatory school.
So I know you graduated from TSU, am I correct?
Yep.
Texas Southern University. What was your major?
I started off in political science, and then I was like, I'm already in politics. I don't want
more.
I want to learn more about it. So I switched up, got into speech communication.
So when and why did you decide to go into politics?
It wasn't by choice. I think it was more by force. My mother has always been involved in politics. She's always been engaged. She used to work for the late Congressman Mickey Leland. Actually, they grew up together. And so I was indoctrinated to politics at a very, 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 very young age. So going out, putting out signs, licking stamps, you know.
You were doing it all.
Yeah, we found out later that licking stamps is cancerous, so I don't even know how any of us is still here from all that stamp licking we did back in the day. So, but you know, I've always been involved in politics, and so it was just kind of second nature to me. But when the chance arose for me to be able to run, I just, you know, jumped out there on faith and did the work. But it was more, I did the work first. So worked in the community, had a nonprofit that I used to run. As a very young man, and that kind of opened the door because being the executive director of Phoenix Outreach, I knew I wanted to help these kids, but then I started realizing I can't help the kids until I help the parents.
Right.
And then I started realizing I can't help these parents until we, you know, help this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then you realize it just kind of opens
it's
up.
Holistic.
And so, so and it just kind of evolved. And so we wanted to do something better for my community and create more opportunities for the kids, and kind of what thrust me into politics.
Question. I have a friend who got in trouble when she was super, super young. And she was in nursing school at Lone Star College. I'll never forget. And she's much younger than me. But she found out when she was in the nursing program that she had to quit because she was not going to be certified because of this felony she had. I remember her exact words were, Trina, they should have sentenced me to life, because she couldn't get a job. She couldn't get an apartment in a nice area. And so it stayed with me forever. So when I went to college late. So when I did my final project, it was about it was called Second Chances. And it was about getting ex-felons into the workforce, back in the workforce, and a re-entry into the world in a successful way. Well, anyway, that's when I first found out about you, because you were giving a job fair for ex-felons at the time. So why did you start doing that?
Well, I realized a long time ago that, you know, there have been men and women who have committed crimes. They have served the time, and unfortunately they come back into the world, and it's like they're still sentenced to prison, and it follows them forever. You got to understand, from where I come from and what my mother has taught me, and through my own teachings and through, you know, the teachings of others that have been around me, I understand that the only place that slavery is still legal is in the prison system.
Absolutely.
It still is called slavery in the Constitution. That has to change, because disproportionately and unfortunately, Black men and now Black women are incarcerated at rates far, far, far greater and higher than anybody else. And the fact is that we don't. And we continue to make that one instance of their life an anchor around their, you know, around their torso, are now allowing them to go anywhere and go much higher. And so I always say those same individuals, and that's, when you look at it, that's what we really call taxation without representation. The fact that I can, you're taxing me. You want me to get a job. You're taking all these things away from me. But yet you still wanted me to pay taxes. You still wanted me, but yet I can't vote. And yet I can't get an apartment. It's
can't
like,
get a job to support my entire family.
Right. That one mistake. And we often see in the criminal injustice system that, again, disproportionately, men of color don't have the lawyers or the money to be able to get themselves out of, oftentimes, what are trumped up charges, false imprisonment. And we've seen the stories over and over again. And so it's become just a passion of mine because, working at my youth center, I saw a lot of those boys, trying to make ends meet, maybe out there, had some marijuana on.
Yeah.
And they charged them with intent to distribute. And so now they go to the DA, and the DA is saying, hey, 5 years in prison or 10 years probation.
Yeah.
Or they give them 2 years in prison or 10 years probation.
Probation. Yeah.
I mean, them cats was taking those 10 years like it wasn't nothing. And so you have this 14, 15-year-old kid on probation. That's a part of his record. And so that's a life sentence because he is definitely going to commit a crime between that time and 10 years because you won't give him a chance to get a job. Now he's going to get it before he's finished with his probation, which is going to extend his, and they go,
then he's going to get jail time.
The pattern is there. We know it's there. We know it's unjust. And we have to stop it. I'm not here to be nice or play nice with any criminal. The fact is, if you did the crime, then you do the time.
Yeah.
But when you get out,
and if you've done if you've served your time and you're trying to do better, that's where I'm at. Like if you out there doing silly, stupid stuff, you continuously do it. But I'm speaking of those as you probably are, those that get out and actually really try. You still do that program.
The second chance? Yeah, we've
well,
done,
once COVID is gone.
I've done 3 since the time I've been in office.
Okay.
We've done 3 different ones. And I started doing that when I was a city council member. I did the very first one. And we just did it as an opportunity to try to help guys that just needed a job, because I had run across a lot of those cats in my district. And we had this fair and really didn't know kind of what it was. Just gonna be a job fair. I had a couple of flaggers, and they were going, a couple of guys at the construction site, hey man, I'll give somebody a chance. So I'm thinking, we can give out these 20 or so jobs. Well, when 5,000 men showed up, it was like, whoa.
Yes.
It just overwhelmed us, and it actually made CNN news because I had never. And the line was snaked down the road.
I heard,
it was amazing, and that just opened my eyes and said.
And it showed you that there was definitely a need for that.
Right.
So.
Right.
And the reason why I saw it is because a part of my project, I had to come up with what we would do. And that's how I ran across you, because that was one of the things. It's like, we'll help them make a portfolio, we'll get people to come from the community, the churches, and, so, but thank you for that. I gotta get on your volunteer list because that's near and dear to me. COVID-19 numbers going up and they're being so high. What are your thoughts on educators? I do work in the education field, us and students returning to the classroom.
Well, I think one of the things that I talked to the TEA commissioner on yesterday, and the one thing that I had to say is I demanded a plan. All I am is I'm demanding a plan. There is no plan. Leadership starts at the top. Yeah. And the fact that you're trying to tell school districts, make your own plan, that doesn't work, because you're forever evolving and changing your guidelines. And so when the districts are trying to turn in their plans to reopen, you're TEA constantly shooting them down. It doesn't fit the criteria.
That's not right.
Criteria. There's districts out there that said that we wanted to start, virtual.
Yeah.
And TEA said, well, if you start virtual, we're not going to pay you your money. And now you have the president, saying stupid things.
You're gonna take the money from us now.
Yeah, he can't, and he can't even do that. I mean, these are just empty threats that he's making, and unfortunately, the media jumps on it, and everybody goes, "Oh, he's gonna."
Right.
And the governors go, "Oh, no." And at the end of the day, literally, that's an act of Congress in order for him to do that.
Yeah.
And the Congress, as you know, is on the Democrat side.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, at the end of the day, we have to demand a plan. You know, I believe, and I'm not a scientist, so I don't have the greatest ideas, but I do believe that at least if we're going to send our teachers back, because we all know, and I would agree to a certain extent that we do know children are less likely for this to be deadly, but it will, they will get it, but they'll recover a lot faster.
Okay.
But it's the population of the teachers. Those that have those underlining
illnesses, yeah,
with heart disease or high blood pressure or diabetes or overweight or age, all of those things come into play, and that's why it's important that number one, we look out for the teachers. Number one, we have to make sure that we at least get them tested so we'll know where this thing starts.
Yeah,
the teachers are cool. All right, we know you're good. Now we'll have to constantly and continually to test, but at least you get an idea of where we start this thing from. But the question is right now, do we go back to school right now? No,
Yeah.
we don't. And the fact is that I'm on the brink and I'm on the verge of just simply, saying to all of my constituents, if TEA does not know how to give a plan, if the governor does not know how to show leadership, if you're going to have the lieutenant governor constantly
let the grandparents pass on.
yeah. But the lieutenant governor is saying dumb, stupid things about Dr. Fauci because he wants to talk in sound bites and he wants to talk. He wants to sound tough, but sounding tough and being tough is the reason why we're in the situation where we're in.
Exactly.
The fact is that the United States have had these pandemics on the verge of pandemics all the time since Dr. Fauci has been there. We've always been on the verge. The H1N1, the swine, the bird, the Zika. All of these diseases have
Ebola.
been around for years and years and years. And you know what? Because the American public and because the administration backed the CDC and backed the health professions, we were able to nip it in the bud, no deaths, no problem. Economies didn't shut down, none of that. But now here we have this administration that simply,
it's a hoax.
They politicized it so much to the fact that they killed, literally, the president killed 140,000 people because he wanted to pretend like, we got rid of this disease. We're the greatest country in the world. We always say it, America, the greatest country in the world.
Right.
The best minds, the best science department, the best this, the best that, the best. We are America. How is it that with all these great minds, how is it that with the medical center right here, the greatest medical center in the world is right here in Houston, how is it with all of these great scientists that we have, how is it that we're America, America, America? We're the best ever. How is it that we're leading the world in deaths, in being and contracting this deadly disease? How is it that we could not nip this in the bud like all of those others? And then there's those stupid people, I ain't gonna call them out, but those stupid people that want to talk about, America is more populated. Okay, China is far more populated, but I'm sorry, they ain't having the same problem.
Because they took leadership. They led.
India has more population than America, but no, they're not having. These are third world countries. And so when we think of these third world countries, we think, they don't have the same technology. They don't have the same. How is it? It's because our administration decided that they wanted to politicize this and then blame Democrats for this by simply saying, the Democrats just want to kill our economy so that, which is the most absurd thing in the world that
absurd.
That the president is literally accusing other Americans of trying to kill Americans. That's what we typically, kind of use against foreign-born people that want to come here and do harm. We blame the Muslims for that.
Right.
We blame Iraqi for that. We blame ISIS for that. We blame. Now we're into blaming
each other.
Americans gonna kill Americans for what? A vote? No, sir. I'm not about to blame and put my parents' life on the line because I want to vote.
Right.
Or because that's just pure evil. The same evil that talk about on God the Most High, my Lord and my Savior. And come on, man. You're going to get the real me in this interview. So
I hear you. No, I hear you.
I'm done with the whole politically correct, because politically correct has gotten us this far. And I'm simply tired of the stupidity. I'm simply tired of the overthinking. I'm simply tired of the weaponizing of our children and our teachers. Because, and let me tell you, if we don't know by now that we want these kids to go back to school, man, because I'm telling you, sitting at home with some kids and you trying to figure out what to do with your school, and you got teachers in here who got 30, and you got 2.
Yeah.
And you can't handle 2. What am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do? Or when is lunch? I'm like, Lord, somebody please, okay, gotta go back to school. Yeah. How much y'all want? We want y'all back to school. We're gonna make it. I'm telling you, I would do everything in my power
to get them back.
To get teachers and children back in school.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's them dummies. See, that they ain't got no young kids at home, and that's why they make it. See, when you got kids at home, you be like, I want everybody tested. I want teachers to get 180% raise.
There you go.
And we gonna make
send them on back.
Hey man, we gonna make sure that they got everything they need. Hey man, it's a law. All basketball, football, baseball, hockey, tennis players, movie actors, anybody who make over $1 million a year, it is a requirement that you take and give money to the school fund to give these chicks. They should be the millionaires and not y'all.
Exactly. Definitely. I was wondering, I noticed today that he was on President Trump. He was on his
Ouch. You see, every time you make his name, you mention his name, my head hurt. I feel like I get dumber.
Be like Whoopi and say, I should be like Whoopi and say the man in the White House. Well, he started his press conferences back again today, and so now today he told everybody to wear masks now. I was like, okay, you a little.
And he finally said it's gonna get worse before it gets better. You know what? We could have been done with this. We could have been done with this long time ago, because when the mayor and when the county judge here in Houston said, "Hey, shut it down, wear masks, mandatory," then you got all these civil liberty people. You're taking away, you're trampling on my liberties. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm trying to live. Right. I'm trying to live, and it's those hateful people that want to talk. Nobody wants to look. You ain't got. If you don't want to wear a mask, stay at home. And now they're trying to go into businesses, inside of private businesses, and be mad because I'm not gonna wear. Hey man, this is my personal business. I don't care if Walmart is a big place. It's still private property. Right. Right. So you can't walk in there and tell people what to do on that's private property. So you walk in a business, put on a mask. Otherwise, you on your own.
So you had a survey on your social media page giving educators and parents the opportunity to offer their suggestions. I completed mine. I shared it with several people. It was actually like therapy because we were all fussing. I was like, hey, here, he got this thing. Let's share it. Let's fill it out. What do you plan to do with those results once you have the data, if you haven't already gotten it?
Well, yeah, I mean, we use that data to send a letter to TEA and the governor to explain to them what the results are. And certainly that data was going to be used to make this determination for all of my colleagues. If my constituency is saying this, if 90% of the constituents that wrote into me said, I'm not comfortable with where we are, then that ought to tell you something. Yeah. We can't just govern without talking to the people that are mostly impacted. And obviously those people that are impacted in District 139 is the fact that we have a district that is diverse, but at the end of the day, it's still primarily a Black district. And the fact is that we understand who this COVID is actually impacting most. And so we have to be very careful, and I have to make sure that we bring clarity and a real picture to those that oftentimes don't know what's going on in our community, and then want to make decisions
for our community
from up high without talking to us down here. So, and that's why I want to make sure that they understand I have the data and we're all working on it, and we want to make sure that they understand where we come from.
What do you think we need to do to slow down the spread of the virus? You've kind of already talked on that we should have shut down, I guess, would be, and getting people to wear the mask.
I mean, if people, it's hard to start all over. I wish we can just start all over. If it was the perfect world, we could start all over. And we start from from where we were. It has to be, let's shut it down. Let's stop rushing. Let's stop. Take your time. Make sure you do it right. When you do it right, do your work right the first time, you don't have to go back. You know, it's kind of like the old carpenters say, measure twice, hammer once. Right. So, saw one, whatever, however they say it. But the fact is, do the work right.
Yeah, do it right.
So I think at this point, we will have to definitely have the mask, but we have to be real about shutting it down, period.
Right.
You cannot leave liquor stores open. You can't leave, this open. You can't. Those are not essential.
Yeah.
Those are not essential. You cannot decide what's essential and what's. Look, Walmart closed. Everything closed. Close it. I know there's gonna be people. Blah blah blah. Hey man, I don't understand how other countries do it. Those are sacrifices that have to be made. You want to make the sacrifice. You want to live. This is what you have to do. And I know it's difficult, but I will say this to take away a lot of the anxiety. I've said it over and over and over again. From the federal government down, here's what the president should have been saying. Going to all of the big banks that have billions upon billions in reserve, instead of bailing them out, what you should, instead of giving air, you should have said, okay, there is a moratorium on mortgages, period. The largest, biggest expense most people have is their rent and mortgage.
Yes.
And their mortgage.
Yeah.
If your car note is worth more than your mortgage, then you probably need to go live in your car. But at the end of the day, rent and mortgage is your biggest expense.
Absolutely, yes.
Takes the most out of your money. Oftentimes, 30-35% of your income is your rent or your mortgage. Stop that.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell banks and it's not that you're gonna put a late fee on, then you gotta catch up. Like, no.
Yeah.
You add that to the back end. If you got 10 more years left on your mortgage, now you got 10 years and 3 months.
Yeah.
10 years and 4 months, 10 years and 6 months, whatever the case may be. So that way people don't have to come out of their pocket. They don't have to worry about being evicted. They don't have to worry about, and then they don't have to worry about losing their house and blah, blah, blah. Right. If we stop that, then you give people the confidence to now sit at home and not hear that, it's time for us to go back to work. We got to reopen the economy. Because I keep hearing these same stupid people talking about we got to reopen the economy because when people are broke, it's gonna lead to crime.
Crime.
Ain't that something? We've been telling y'all this forever when it comes to the Black community. We've been telling y'all, you got to do something about this. Nope.
Nope.
Do it on your own. Do it on your own. Pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. But now they want to reopen the economy. We want to reopen the economy. We need to do it on No. And
we would have been able to reopen faster had we just shut down, in my opinion.
We'd have been back already. Had we done this, when we all shut this down March 16th, had we done exactly what we were supposed to do, we would, as opposed to hearing Trump say the stupid things that he said, hearing Abbott say the dumb things that he was saying, hearing Lieutenant Dan say the dumb things that he was saying, and now you got half America doing this and half America doing that, and New Jersey gonna stay open, but New York is gonna close.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I heard the analogy because even in Houston and Harris kind of heard the analogy as one of those funny memes that you see. It said opening up parts of the economy, open up parts of the state, or opening up one state to the next. it's like having a pee section in the pool. It ain't going.
Doesn't make sense.
It's gonna get. Nobody's trampling on your liberties, man. Yeah. Nobody's trampling on your liberties. You get to do whatever you want. Donald Trump has gone so far to say the pandemic is they're trying to take away your Second Amendment rights. What? What? Take away my Second Amendment rights for the pandemic? Oh my God. They just say some of the dumbest things that come to their head, and they're trying to placate to their base. And I'm so sick and tired of their base not saying, okay, man, enough is enough.
That's crazy.
Come on, man.
I mentioned that to someone the other day that I know Trump's numbers are lower now, and he's fired his campaign manager. I'm like, I don't think he doesn't get it that you're not doing anything for the pandemic. Like you're not doing anything so it's not about your campaign manager. It's about you're not saving us. You're letting us die.
To listen to Trump talk about his campaign at this time is probably one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard. He talks about every time he does an interview. He just said it the other day about Fox News. Fox News, this is some of the greatest numbers of all time.
All time.
We set records. Dude, nobody cares about who's watching your dumb interview. We care about the content of the interview. And unfortunately, you're not giving us any content. What you're doing is giving us a bunch of babble. Blah, blah,
you're giving me laughter, a comedy show, which you're actually
that's exactly what he's giving. I mean,
that's what I get from it. Yeah.
You gotta laugh to stop from throwing stuff at your TV, because I didn't pay for 2 TVs already, because I would throw something at like, I throw something at like,
just shut up. Yeah, right.
Broke another TV.
Actually, the very day that the mask was supposed to go into, the mask order was supposed to go into play the first time when my mayor, and Judge Hidalgo came out. Do you know this is the same day that the governor came on and said, you don't have to do that, and we're going to open up part of the world right now, part of Texas right now. I didn't know if that was coincidental, but I just thought it was crazy that the day he knew that they were going to.
It wasn't coincidental. I mean, it was done as a reaction to that. So when the mayor and the county judge said, mandate mask, the reaction was, oh, no, he don't. No, you can't. No, you can't do that. I'm going to put an order in that says you can't do that.
Yeah.
And see now, so now he's had to backtrack, and now he goes, well, it's not a mandate per se, but we strongly encourage it. And then they had the nerve to say, well, the reason why it's getting so bad is because the local people refuse to. No. It's your local people that was following you. It ain't. Don't try to put this on Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. No. You talk about yourself. You confused the people. You told the people. The scientists told you what to do. Lieutenant Dan comes on television and says, we're not going to listen to Dr. Fauci. He was wrong. Hey, man, nobody says somebody was right 100% of the time. But the fact is that you are absolutely 100% wrong for telling anybody not to listen to the scientists. Lieutenant Dan is a disc jockey. He's a disc jockey. He's a radio personality. So how in the world can you tell me that this was, you're a scientist now?
Yeah.
You're not a scientist.
Right.
Go back to spinning records, man. Go back to doing your talk shows.
Yes.
Those opinions, that's an opinion. But now as the lieutenant governor, you're telling people what to do, and they're following your leadership. And that's the worst thing in the world.
You still think it would be okay if we close down 7 to 14 days? Do you think that would help? If we, at this time, because I know the governor said now he shouldn't do it because nobody's going to follow that. It's too late. Is it too late?
It was too late.
To go ahead and close down now. He's saying if he puts that in to close down, I remember what I read, and it would he wouldn't do it.
It will definitely be very difficult. It would be a very difficult financial pill to swallow. There have been so many people out of work for so long, and we unfortunately have gotten so far that I don't think that there is a return from it. And so the only thing that I would certainly tell people is to be very, 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 very careful. If they have the opportunity to stay at home, I would absolutely encourage to stay at home.
Wear your mask. With light being shed on racial disparities and police violence against Black and brown people, being brought to the forefront, what are you doing to help with this? What are some of your thoughts on how we can help, especially with the police brutality?
Well, this is not the first time that this has happened. We've had police brutality in our community since the creation of police. We've had this issue. This is not nothing new.
Anything new.
This was a poorly kept secret that police were beating Black men from a very long time ago. But I think one of the things that I always say, and when I first started saying it, people looked at me like I was crazy, but I thank God for the pandemic, because it finally gave people an opportunity to stop and realize what's going on around them. We heard in 2014, Eric Garner say, "I cannot breathe." Eric Garner said, "I cannot breathe," and was choked to death by police officers. Yeah. While there was a outcry, it wasn't to this magnitude. And so that's why I thank God that we had an opportunity to have this pandemic, because, you know, he makes, you got to look at how these situations are made. But
Senator West kind of mentioned that this was a perfect storm, kind of, with the COVID, the police brutality, and all of that being brought to the forefront. So I thought that was an interesting way to put that.
Well, it's just, I think this is God's way of kind of shining some light that we've been trying to, and people listen. And unfortunately, we have to go through these types of scenarios to where it becomes, again, this is a part of PTSD for the Black man and now Black women. The fact that every single day we have to worry about is something gonna happen. We shouldn't have. We live in America. Yeah. Disproportionately, contrary to what President Trump said when he said, police kill white people too.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know what to say when I saw
white
that.
People too. Kill white people. I mean, he repeated it over
and
over
he even
again.
said, he even added to that even more. So
when you look at the numbers, because numbers wise, yes, their numbers are higher, but you also understand that when when white people are killed by police, it is oftentimes the last resort. The last resort that they're gonna take. It's the last action. They go through this protocol, this protocol, this protocol, this protocol. They call for backup. They call for this. They call for that. But at the end of the day, when you talk about 12% of your population is getting, 50% of your killed by cops, not because of crime, just simply because I thought he had a gun. I thought he had a weapon. I thought my life was in
danger. Yeah, exactly.
You didn't jump through these. You didn't go through all of these scenarios before you made a decision just to shoot me. You didn't go through that scenario when you said you feared for your life from Tamir Rice, who was an 11-year-old kid at the time, 11 years old, playing with a toy gun in the park. And if the fact is that if it was a real gun, it would have been legal. You know why? Because Michigan is an open carry state. So the fact that Tamir Rice could be in a park, if that caller who called in said, I see a Black man in the park with a gun, he would have been in his legal right to have his gun. At the end of the day, when a police officer then rolls up on an 11-year-old boy, there is no mistaking.
A baby.
There's no mistaking an 11-year-old for a 20-year-old. Tamir Rice didn't look. He wasn't one of them big old weight. He did kind of look, old for his. No, he looked 11. He was an average 11-year-old height. The fact is that you feared for your life from your car that you pulled up within 2 seconds, and you started shooting within 2 seconds. So at the end of the day, you shot an 11-year-old boy.
Who did not even have
seconds of pulling up on him because you feared for your life, but you didn't even give it. If you feared for your life, you would have stayed in your car and you would have been back about 20 yards and got on your radio from the protection of your car and said, "Hey, you." And the with the jacket on, and then the stand, hey, put your hands up. That's what you could have did.
Yeah.
But you didn't, because you didn't want to go through all those, because all you saw was black man. And that's why you have today people out here saying no justice, no peace. It's about justice, man. It's not about y'all just, it's about, if in fact these cops are convicted, justice has been served. No, not just arrested.
Arrested, right. That's the big thing.
We're talking convicted. We saw 30 years ago, 4 white cops beat a black man to an inch of his life and said they feared for him, and they wailed on him for 10 minutes, swinging their billy clubs over and over and telling him to be still, stay down. But he's getting beat. I mean, who can stand and stay? And that's what you use, and yet they were exonerated. That's why LA blew up. When you saw what happened to Tamir Bryce, when you saw what happened to Mike Brown, when you saw what happened to Laquan McDonald, when you keep seeing all of these instances of these black men who are killed while unarmed, and then there's no justice served, and now you have Miss Taylor, whose murderers have not been brought to justice, haven't even been arrested.
They're arresting the people that are peacefully protesting and not the cops that killed her.
And the fact is that when you deal with Brother McClain, and the fact that you rolled up on him and he said, please, sir, stay away. Please, sir, leave. I haven't done nothing wrong. And you took a 5'6" black male who weighed 140 pounds, soaking wet, who was no threat. 3 of you. 3 took 3 of you to take him down, choke him out, and then gave him a drug that he didn't ask for, nor was warranted, because you said, oh my God, he's strong. What? Strong? He was super strong. And see, and this is what they do to dehumanize black men. He had superhuman strength to go to the myths that they always got to call on us, because they always see us as dangerous and their work. And so 3. This boy was 5'6". This young man was 5'6", 140 pounds. And you saw a video of him in the store and how he was bowing and being very respectful to those that were around him. And he wasn't bothering anybody. But somebody said there is a black man walking down the street with a mask on. Was there a crime being committed? No, I don't think so. Leave it alone.
Let it go.
Because cops oftentimes don't prevent crimes. They don't prevent crimes. They are an intermediate. They come to solve the crime, or they come while crimes are being committed. It ain't your job to walk down the street and say, you look like you about to go commit a crime. Let me arrest you. That's illegal.
Right.
I can wear whatever I want to wear. And now you got everybody wearing a mask.
Everybody wear a mask. Isn't that crazy?
But the fact is that, but last year, and then they were not even arrested because the DA said it was justified. Justified, and it's on video. But now, that was in 2019. But now today, everybody is at home and everybody's looking and everybody sees it and everybody goes, oh my God, we got to call for justice for Brother McClain. But the DA already let him free. Those cops were back at work. They were free, but now they're reopening the case because now they're looking at it going, wow.
Oh, that's
They
crazy.
were not going to arrest anybody from the Ahmaud Arbery case. They were not going to arrest anybody until the video came out.
Right,
until
and they didn't have a choice.
Came out. You hunted, literally, hunted a human being. You hunted a human being and said you feared for your life, so you shot. And then the DA and the cop said, all right, let him go. Until the video comes out and go, wait a minute. But
something's wrong.
They saw a black man walk into a open house that everybody and their mama does every time there's a new neighborhood coming up. I see a new neighborhood. I'm like, let me go see.
I do it.
Let me go see. I want to see what in your own neighborhood. Ooh, I want some ideas.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. And lo and behold, look at the videos. There are countless videos of everybody walking into that house.
Mm-hmm.
They never call the police on anybody else. They never call the police on. But the black man, he walked in and walked out. What? That's not your job. That's not your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was a crime being committed? And then they roll up on people and they be like, put your hands up. Let me tell you. And you have to hold police accountable. And there will be legislation drafted.
Okay.
Which we will talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Cops that commit crimes, commit crimes against any unarmed citizen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you shoot and simply say, I fear for my life, but then there was no reason to fear for your life,
that don't
you're
get
getting arrested.
Right.
You're getting arrested. No ifs and buts about it.
Well, what do you think, though, now a lot of the cops are saying, I don't know what city I saw that in, but now they're like, well, now we don't feel comfortable doing our job. We have people calling out because they're afraid that, you know, people are attacking me. What thought do you have on that, if any?
I can't call off being a human being no more. I'm going to call off being a human being. I'm not going to walk out my house no more because if I walk outside, cops going to get me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it goes both ways.
Both ways. That's true.
We are holding you accountable for the actions of the bad ones in your group. The same way, and I said this to cops before, the same way when you see a group of black men walking down the street in a pack, and somebody may have called and said they think somebody got a gun in that group.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, it may be 10 of them that just came from the park. Walking down, hands hanging off, talking, trash, having a good old time. Somebody called and said there's a gun. Now, let me tell you what the police officer gonna do. He gonna roll up on them, lights on, speeding up on them. They don't know what's going on. Tell everybody, freeze, stop, put your hands up. People are not gonna know what to do, how to react, how to move. Yeah. Because you looked at every last one of them like they were bad.
Yeah.
And that's the same way now the black community is looking at every cop that comes to their front door.
Yeah.
Every time I see a cop, I don't know how to respond to you, man. You rolled up on me like I'm the criminal. So of course I'm gonna react to you like you the criminal. Let me see your ID. I'm sorry, sir. What did I do? I'm sorry, sir. I'm gonna give you my ID, but if you would bring this down some, I'm trying to. Because if I reach for anything right now, officer, if I reach for my pocket, if I reach too fast, if I don't, you know, this is like, officer, when I'm at home, I was taught that when you're mad, you take a deep breath, you relax, you may walk away from the situation. But right now, bring this down. Take your hand off your gun, sir, because if I reach in my back pocket, you're going to
shoot me.
You're going to feel threatened some kind of way because it's 10 of us and it's only one of you.
Yeah.
So right now, you're on edge. I'm on edge. Calm down, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, I'm
it's sad to me. I'm sorry. It's sad to me too that nowadays the conversation that I had two young ladies on a video with me last week, and one of them has a son. I think he's 16. It's sad that they have to teach. Well, you probably have to teach your son as well. Like when the cop stops you, this is what you have to do. You can't just tell them, hey, just show your ID. You got to teach them about keeping their hands where they can see them. You got to move slow. Sir, can I, that's kind of sad to me. Not that, we used to give the regular talk about what to do. Be polite, do what you're supposed to do. But now extra special, extra careful for our boys to deal with police.
Let me tell you about one other thing that we were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because because of this pandemic, because of what we're going through, and because, yes, I've had to have this conversation with my son. I've had to have this conversation with my son's friends. I've had to have, conversation with many black boys to say, what do we do? How do you do? We're actually in the process right now of setting up a program by which we're bringing black police officers in to have a conversation with these boys, how to interact with cops. And then the cops going to listen to how to interact with us. Because at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong way to interact with cops.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation the other day, and the chief was there, and one of his captains were there, and a young lady asked the question, what do I tell my son to do? how do I tell my son, you know, because I always tell, and this is her words, I always tell my son, you know, ask him for his name and his badge number and blah, blah. You know, should I do that? Do I have the right? And both the chief and the captain said, oh yeah, you're well within your right. And I sat there and went, no.
That ain't happening.
Because you don't get it. See, you don't get it, but because as a black man, see, we're looking at television too much. We're looking at YouTube too much. We're looking at Instagram too much. We're looking at how to shut down cops and how to embarrass cops and how to, you know, am I being detained? Am I being detained? You know, no, sir, I don't have to provide you my, no, sir, I don't have, no, the rules don't apply. The rules are not the same. You don't need to ask a police officer for his name or his, because if you're getting a ticket,
it's going to be there.
If you're getting a ticket, it's going to be on that. So leave that alone. If, in fact, he turned his lights on and pulled you over, there is a record of that. You can then call down to, because at the end of the day, your job is to go home.
That's it.
Go home. Your job is to get home at this point. Your job is not to challenge
the police officer.
Because that's the problem. They think that this young black boy is challenging him, challenging his authority. And now
that's how they're going to take it.
And that's the problem. And so while I say there's no right or wrong way, because there are going to be a lot of people that will argue, say, well, you can't. And the chief said, any good cop is going to give you their name and badge number. And I said, that's not the problem. The problem is not the good cop.
Good cops.
It's the bad cop.
Yeah.
And you asked the wrong cop at the wrong time for his name and his badge number. All of a sudden, it's going to become hostile between you two.
A power struggle.
That's going, and oftentimes you're going to come out the loser because he going to say he was in the right because you're going to bully you and you're going to, you know, and they're going to have the right to shoot you at that point. And so we have a program that deals with that. The second half of that program is to deal with our young boys' mental health.
Okay.
Because this is PTSD. If I got to talk to my 19-year-old son and talk to him about police officers and coming home and, you know, we seeing this on television every single day. It's like people from the Army, I mean, in the armed services. They're seeing this out there on the battlefield and it becomes a part of their mental psyche. And for us as black men, I've been told all my life, and I remember as a young child, don't cry.
Yeah.
Don't let me see you cry.
Yeah. Wipe the tears.
Don't let them see you. I don't want to see you. We couldn't show pain. We couldn't show vulnerability. We couldn't show, you know, a sensitive side.
Right.
We had to swallow that. When I broke up with my little 7th grade girlfriend broke up with me. Broke my heart. You know? And so couldn't cry. Couldn't talk to my friends, couldn't tell my uncle, couldn't tell my dad, couldn't do none of that because they were like, "What you crying over a girl?"
Yeah. Man up.
So then that left me to do the best thing that I could do, never get hurt again. And so I made sure that I had very dysfunctional relationships with girlfriends because I was never told how to be vulnerable and how to express, how to talk, and how because
communicate.
I was always told to suppress.
Right.
So now you see our young black boys expressing themselves in manners that oftentimes are not healthy.
Yeah.
They're not having healthy relationships with their girlfriends, with their wives, with their others. They're not having great relationships with authority figures. And so it's important that at this point we have to start normalizing going to see a therapist.
Yes.
Taking this to baby, take it to Jesus. He gon' baby, I know that boy is take it to Jesus. We can do that. We can take it to Jesus. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But also we need to normalize.
Yeah.
Going to talk to a professional, a therapist that can, because there's nothing wrong with it. The most successful people in the world, you'll realize, go lay on that couch.
I always say that. I don't mind laying on the couch. I will lay on the couch.
I have been on that couch multiple times.
Yeah.
And even during this COVID, you go through that because there's so much going on your head, your body, your mind. You got to talk it out.
Did you know this is Minority Mental Health Month?
I did not. I'm
It
glad you
is.
told me.
Just FYI.
But
July.
that's the program that we're working on right now to
Okay.
try to get enacted. And so we're
Okay.
going to continue to
That's
do
awesome.
some of the legislation that I tried to get passed last year with having psychological evaluations for police officers. We're going to push that. We're going to push that bill again. Being physically fit and mentally stable.
Mentally stable.
There are a lot of other bills that we work with police officers to make sure that we're giving them every opportunity to do their job and be successful at it. But here now, it's about the presidential election, because we realize that this one person has totally torn this country up, and he has a group of people that are following him that are dangerous, and they're worried about their own personal elections as to why they continue to follow him, as opposed to calling him out and calling him a liar and saying, man, look, stop. I mean, as a human being, stop.
But they don't realize that they follow him. I don't mean to cut you off, but they don't realize that if they follow him, as Roy said, off the cliff, that they may not be elected again?
No, but the thing is that they're thinking that they're talking about their base. They're thinking that they're doing this for their base. They think that their base wants this. And I don't think that they understand that their base don't want this. Their base, there is a good number of Trump followers that are just, I mean, he's the Pied Piper of stupidity. Right. And so he has a lot of people that follow him. But it's not the great numbers that I think that the media portrays it. That's why Trump loves to hold his rallies, and he's had 25,000 in his stadium, but that's 25,000. So when he comes to Houston and he goes and has 25,000 people at a stadium, great. We got 2.5 million residents. He got 1%.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got
25,000.
That's all he got.
Yeah.
Those 25,000 way may have filled up the stadium does not mean that they are the majority. They're the minority, and they're loud, but the media just
makes it like that. Yeah.
And so then you have a lot of people going, oh, well, Trump may win. When you actually just say, okay, forget the numbers, forget what you heard. Just tell me what you think about this man. Come on, tell the truth. I know there's nothing behind this. Just tell the truth. Did he lie? And anybody who say, well, no, he didn't, I tell them, nope, see, that's right there. Nope, see, nope.
Let's stop the conversation right now.
That's it. I don't want to talk to you. I don't even want to talk.
Yeah. So we've heard a lot about the mail-in voting. We've heard a lot of, we shouldn't do that because it's going to be, Trump says it's going to be fraudulent, which I heard he does mail-in voting. Why is that important to us right now?
Listen, all they're trying to do is disenfranchise voters. They're coming up with every way. Trump has mastered this game, and I don't understand why people have not realized the game that he has mastered. He says one thing, but if in fact it is beneficial to him, he'll say, okay, yes. Just like he said, I'm not going to accept the results of the election unless I win. Like, what? What? I mean, can you imagine that, like, the Rockets will not leave the court unless they win? Because if we lose, that means that the referees cheated.
Yeah. So we stand.
We ain't gonna leave this court. No, we won. We ain't gonna leave this court until we win. That's not how that goes.
Right.
That's not how that goes. But he says he's not going to accept the results of the election. And so at that point, that's when, and he tries to plant these seeds of doubt by simply saying the election is gonna be rigged. He said the 3 million people voted illegally. No, they did not. They did not. There is no evidence of that. There is no evidence of mail-in ballot fraud. There's no evidence of any of it, but they come up with these rules trying to confuse people. They come up with this trying to scare people. That's the same way the Republicans did here in Texas when it comes to voter ID, making sure that you have ID. And if you don't have ID, and if you do something wrong, we can arrest you. And you got to remember, you got a lot of people that are 70 and 80 years old out there who grew up in that Jim Crow, who grew up in that era by which they saw literally what can happen if you break the law. And these are older people who've seen it. And hey, and baby,
They
I
don't
don't
want to deal with that. They
I
don't
don't
want to deal with it.
that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just not gonna vote.
Right.
Because
That's the scary part.
we're still worried. Psychologically, we're still worried about what could potentially happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get arrested.
Right. Right.
And nobody's intentionally out there to cast 2 votes. I'm going 2 votes. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But they're planting these seeds of doubt, and it's funny to me.
Yeah.
Because these privileged people are the most conspiracy theory people I know. You are the people of privilege. I don't understand why you keep coming up with these conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody's trying to take away your privilege and your rights.
Mm-hmm.
I just want some myself. I just want to live in this world too. But you are so bad that you don't even want me to live in. I don't want to take yours.
Right.
You keep living.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just let me have an opportunity. But yet you keep trying to tell me, oh, we're cheating or we're doing this bad and we're doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem.
I was upset because there was, what's his name? Charlemagne the God had the interview with Biden. And so they were telling people, okay, well, Biden, kind of saying Biden wasn't good. Yes, he puts his foot in the mouth, but I love him too. However, this is not the time to confuse people. I felt that everybody doesn't have that education that they have to really get what they were saying. So you're going to confuse some people. Say, okay, well, y'all said Trump's not good, but then now you're saying something about Biden. So I'm just not going to vote. I'm going to just make it easy. You understand what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do. Charlemagne the God and all the rest of them out there for media and ratings, and they got to have their opinions. And so they're not a part of, while you may be trying to say you're speaking for the Black community,
mm-hmm.
you're not
speaking for everybody.
You're not.
Yeah.
Because right now, you're just simply trying to be contrarian. You're simply trying to, to do media or to give the people both sides. But then when you go out there, then you say, oh man, Biden was bad, Biden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling you, you can hold Biden accountable, but at this point, by saying Biden is bad,
that's not.
But Trump is what?
Oh, yeah.
So what you've done is you've taken all of these young people and you made them go.
Exactly.
Man, I ain't gonna vote for neither one of them, man.
Right. And that was I couldn't get that point to some people. Even my oldest daughter is 28. I was trying to get that point to her. She couldn't understand me, but that was my issue, that you're going to make people just say, you know what, then if ain't nobody right, what's the use of me going out there to vote? That's where the scary part is. So we're gonna keep Trump then. That's gonna be better. Or better yet, let's do Kanye, so I'm making your head hurt again.
Hey, man. That's why that brother needs to go sit on the couch, man.
Sit on the couch. They get the mail-in
the mail-in ballot.
Mm-hmm. So mail-in ballot. That's what I meant.
Yeah, it's done through the Harris County Clerk's office. They can just simply request it, and they'll have a mail-in ballot sent to them.
Okay. What would you say to a group of first-time youth voters about this year's election and the importance of voting?
My advice to young people are just, your first time voting, not only young or old. I mean, this is the most important thing in your life that you can do, regardless of whether you think it's important or not. Voting help give you the rights that you actually have right now. Voting, having the ability to vote and vote for people that have your best interest is what's most important. And I know it's no sexy way of saying it. There's no, cliche way of saying it. But at the end of the day, this is going to shape our future. And if you have a leader out there that potentially wants to take away everything from you and simply justify it by saying that, they were trying to take it from him. I mean, but this is obviously the most important step in a young person's life is to be able to vote. And then when you look at the history, and why it's so important to me is because I do look at the history and I do know from whence we've come. I do know what we had to go through. I heard the stories from my mother and my grandfather about all of the things that they had to go through. What my grandfather had to go through, and having a poll tax, and kind of what his father had to go through with the literacy tests, and they always found ways to discourage us from voting. They always found ways to put people in our path to discourage us. And then, as they're trying to stand in line to vote, to have dogs put on them, or to be pulled out of line for, for the most trivial and meaningless things, is what's most important, because a lot of people have sacrificed to make sure that I can do what I do, that we can live somewhat of freedoms in this country, but it don't stop. It don't stop.
It does not stop. Well, you already talked about this, but July is Minority Mental Health Month. So I'm excited to hear that you're working on that initiative. But are you going to do is it just going to be for the boys? Is that initiative just for male?
The pilot program is about the boys.
But eventually.
Eventually it's going to be for everybody. But right at this point, I do see that the girls are going through it as well. We see it, but we don't see it as much. Black boys are being hunted.
Absolutely,
literally hunted. We do know the situations about the young ladies that have been shot by cops that were arbitrary. I know there was an arbitrary shooting. I mean, they couldn't see, like the sister in Dallas. I mean, they couldn't see. They just shot through the window. They didn't know who was in the house.
Right.
And Sister Taylor the same way. But when you look at on television every single day, this, we're actually seeing.
Yeah.
Police officers literally looking us in the eye and just blasting away. I mean, you're seeing it over
killing
and
us
over.
like dogs.
And I tell, and the other part of that is, as I talk about relationships and as I talk about, we need to get our boys right so that they can become men. So that when the event that they have an opportunity to date or to marry, a woman, that they are the kind of man what you want and desire, so that then if y'all have children, then you want that man to be able. So it starts with the man. You want us to be a man. Everybody tell us to man up as an adult. Man up. You got to man up. But we ain't got no strong black men. Well, then let us work on that.
Yeah.
I'm not taking nothing away from my sisters. Let me work on making this strong man.
Yeah.
So that we can then bolster ourselves to then come help our sisters. And now we can work together. So this is, once
we get this head straight,
we got to get this right with our men, with our boys. And I'm not saying that our girls don't need. We do need this help.
But this is just a step.
This for me. I right now I got to work with my.
Definitely.
And I get one of my sisters to join in with me, and we can combine these. Let's do it.
Gotta do it. So lastly, I want to mention how awesome your mom is, Miss Cleo. She did and she still does work in the community, especially with the Black United Fund. I know her through my mama. I heard you say on a show the other day that you grew up a drug baby. I thought it was funny. So can you please share it with my viewers? I clutched my pearls at first. I was like, what?
I did not know. See, you messed up the whole, but I tell people all the time how growing up a drug baby really helped me to be the man that I am today, and the fact that my mother is the one who, in fact, gave me that drug problem, and I had a drug problem, it seemed like since I was born. So as I was, I got older, I can appreciate being that drug baby. And that the fact is that my mother drugged me everywhere. She drugged me to school, drugged me to church, drugged me to rallies. She truly believed in Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up the child. So, but that's how she gave me that. She gave me that drug problem. I had a real bad drug problem too. I remember that the time, and my son, has heard that story probably 1,000 times. And my daughter has heard it 1,000,000 times. And I remember every time I still tell the story today, no matter how many times I've told it, people in the audience will still go.
I was thinking, I gotta call my mama. She didn't tell me that.
I know. Everybody was like, I did not know you was a crack baby. I'm like, no.
Listen, hold on. Listen to the rest of the story.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, man, people be like, oh my God, you're such a, you're such a, you're a really inspirational story. You can come from drugs like that.
That's funny. Do you have any last words of encouragement that you want to offer because of everything, like the COVID and just everything that's going on in our country? Is so crazy right now.
I think at this point that we're at a very pivotal time in this country in our lives, that this is an opportunity for us to do more as a people. We can learn and need to start coming together to start making sure that we can be better than what we've ever been. This demonstrates that we have an opportunity of demonstrating, cooperative economics, where we can go put money collectively in a bank, Unity Bank, and saying, because at the very least is that we can start coming together. We're stronger in numbers. We have to start circling the wagons to protect ourselves. We can't allow other things to distract us and get in our way. We have to stop this hateful game that we play of competing against one another.
Crabs in the bucket.
We have to stop giving everybody else the benefit of the doubt and not giving ourselves that same benefit. We have to be able to start working together and saying that we can and we will. I make it a point every single day to try to make sure that I'm spending money. If I'm gonna spend money in my community, in a business that I know is going to benefit my community. It's hiring my kids. It's hiring, my residents. It's hiring. So that's how we become the great community that we know we can be. We have to start reinvesting back in ourselves. And when we do that, we'll have the beautiful communities that we want. Shepherd Park Terrace,
that we deserve.
The fact is, I tell my brothers and sisters who grew up out here, don't let your mama house go. Those are the things that how we pass on things to our children, have our generational wealth. But I think at this time, we have to start learning how to come together, working together, collectively being the greatness that we are. And I challenge everyone to start doing just a little bit more. Instead of making it rain at the club, find you a local nonprofit and say, here's the same money I was about to go throw in the club.
There you go.
Here's the same money. Let's do that kind of challenge. Let's go, instead, let's have random acts of kindness. Let's collectively start doing something to say, let's start doing greater than what we've done ever before, because we can't expect anybody to treat us better if we're not treating ourselves better than we need to. So I appreciate you allowing me to come on, and
I appreciate you. Yep. And it was a pleasure and a true honor to talk to you today and chat with Trina. And what I want to say before you go, thank you guys for watching us today, watching Chat with Trina. But I need you to support me, y'all, by liking and sharing. And remember that I have a goal to get 200 more viewers by August 31st. So go to www.youtube.com/chatwithtrina. Hit thumbs up, click subscribe, and then hit that little bell so you can be notified when I have a new video. Now, thank you again, Representative Johnson. But you're not off the hook. I'm going to need you to go on there and like it as well.
I got to like, subscribe, thumbs up.
You got to at least like.
All right, I can do all that.
Also,
I got to do all that. I got to go through that whole little list you just gave me.
Like, you got to go through all of it. So I'm gonna come up with me a rap with it, so people can pay attention to it. But thank you again so much. It was a great conversation. I really appreciate that, and I will be contacting you because I definitely am gonna be that volunteer for that job fair when he comes back.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed my chat with Representative Jarvis Johnson. Guys, don't forget, you got to get out there and vote. We have too much depending on this. Get out there, do your part, and vote. And then don't forget to go to youtube.com/chatwithtrina, hit subscribe, and then hit that little bell so that you can be notified when I upload a new video.